Okay, we're back in front of the video camera once again. I know it's been a little while since I posted a video, but got wound up on some crazy projects and didn't really have time to do any videoing on them. And I know we talked a little bit about some of the projects that was coming up, and they're still on the list. Some of them got shuffled around for various reasons, and homeowners made changes and that sort of thing. So the fish tank project that I talked about is still on a go. It just got postponed for a little while, and some other projects. I'm working on one here today. I thought I'd show a quick little video on it and a tool that I'm using that I'm going to use to do some work with it. This is kind of a one-off. It's a home remodeling project for a contractor that I do work for. So we've got some cabinet doors, and they went in and they didn't put new cabinets up, but they made some changes. I think maybe they changed the size of the refrigerator, and that made the cabinets too big. And then they added I think maybe they added a microwave up over the stove. And so anyway, I've got two doors here, and this is kind of old school doors. They're not a frame and panel door. It's actually just a piece of plywood, and they took and made the frame around it. Of course, they mitered the corners. And let me I'll try to show you right here to the camera. They mitered the corners, and then they cut back on the wood there to make a recess where it sets down on it. So this is basically just a piece of molding that they mitered and cut to fit on the plywood. And this used to be a pretty common method of fixing cabinets here in the area where I live. Oh, years ago. I say these is probably 20-25 years old, or maybe even more. At any rate, they've got these, and they can't seem to come up with a stain that matches. And these doors, I've got two doors here. This one I hadn't done anything to yet, that needed to be cut off. They're too long. They're going to wind up, they're going to be about this high when I get them cut off, it's something like this. But they want me to cut them off and put the frame back using the existing pieces, and not damage it, not skin it up where the stain don't. So that's a little bit hard to do, but let me turn the camera around here. So what I've done, I've cut the first door off. This is just a cut off from it, and I tore off the top piece of molding. Well, of course, you can naturally see what it does to the plywood there when you tear it off, because it was glued. All the molding was glued on. There's a couple of nails in each piece, a couple of finishing nails, and then the rest was glued on. So, but this is waste. This is the top part of the door that's going away. But you can see what it does when you tear it off. So anyway, I cut it off, and I tore this piece off the top, taking extreme care not to damage this piece. So now I've still got my original miters, and then I just scraped the glue and the plywood off the back of it so it fit on the door when I cut it down. Now the biggest problem when we do this, and I'm going to use this as an example. The biggest problem when we do this is cutting these 45s back on this thing, and the plywood's still in here. So we've got exactly 3/8 of an inch of the molding sticking up beyond the plywood. So this isn't much of a problem. You can go over here to the bandsaw and cut this portion of it out without too much problem. It's this part in here. See, this needs to be cut straight and accurate as possible on a 45, because your other piece has got to come back in here and made up to it. You can't get it to a machine to sand it really smooth. I guess you could take if you had a pool saw or something like that, you could probably saw it by hand But then you're still going to run the risk of coming out here beyond the molding and touching it with the saw and making marks. So I guess there's any number of ways that you could come up to do this. I've come up with a plan, and I'm going to give it a try. And I'm going to show it to you right here. Okay, the piece that I'm going to use here, the way I'm going to cut the 45s on this, or the way I'm going to attempt to, I'm going to use my 3D Pantograph. Built this thing sometime back. May have mentioned it in another video. I can't remember where I've ever had it in use or not, but built it sometime back to do toy parts. I guess some of you are aware I make toy parts for a toy company here locally, and I make parts for those things in the summertime. And I needed a way to reproduce parts that was small and some other things like that. So anyhow, I built this thing, and I'm thinking I'm going to use it here to do the 45s on these styles for this door. So let me get turned around here where you can see it. A little closer. So I've got the door set up in here. And I guess I might already explain a little bit, if nobody's ever saw one of these things. Pantograph, you know, I guess architects used to use them before the advent of computers and the computer-aided design drawings and that sort of thing. But one that you can buy, you can use a pencil with to mark. You can either make reductions or enlarge. This one is a reduction. In other words, if you move the stylus around up here, you get a 50% reduction. I've got it set on 50% now. And what the router does. So if you cut a 6-inch circle here, you wind up with a 3-inch after it's cut. But what I'm doing here, I don't know where you can see or not. Get a little zoom in here. What I'm doing here is I've got the door. I've got the part of the door that we're going to be using mounted in here. Now I need these 45s. Well, I'd like to be able to cut them across here and stay off of the plywood and have it smooth where I don't have to worry so much about sanding so much by hand to make it fit. So I thought, wow, if I could cut this thing with a router bit. This router has got a down cut carbide spiral cutting bit in it here, and so I thought if I could cut these 45s with this router bit a little at the time, it'd really be smooth when it got done. It'd be accurate, and I could do it and stay off of this plywood. So this is what I came up with. So I took this 3D Pantograph and set it up here on my board and get everything square, and then use my square. I got the square clamped to the side of it, so if I come over here with the stylus against the square, the router bit run right along. I've got it set right there where to run right along the mark to make the 45-degree cut that I want here. So I'm sure it's hard to see in there. I'd like for to be able to see it. It's hard for me to see in the little window on the camera, but anyway, that's how that'll work. I've got the square set up here. I've got plenty of room for the cut. So I'm going to take and lower the router bit, turn the router on, and we're going to start making that 45 cut and see what happens. Just going to take a really small, shallow pass to begin with, and then I'm going to take a square and check it and do some checking on it before we continue. Okay, let me see if I can get that. Oh, you can probably see that. So that's what was after right here. We've got this 45 started right here, and we'll just keep lowering that bit, cutting a little at a time. Take this 45 right on down to this plywood. Of course, we're not going to be able to go all the way plumb into it. We may have to scrape the last little layer off, because we certainly don't want to get down in there and leave a mark out here where the stain's at. That's the whole purpose. But I think this is going to work out. I will take a square and check this, and we'll be able to tell. Looks like we're dead on with it, so checking it with the edge of the style, the outside edge right here, and checking our 45. So I've got it exactly on the mark where it should be, and according to this little square, we got it dead on 45, which it should be. It's square on the table. The table itself is square. I checked all of that before I ever set it up. And so then the square here on the side has got the lips to go up against it tight. I will just make sure we got it in the right place. So I want to continue on. We'll cut this thing out, and we'll see what happens. Okay, let me see if I can get the camera around here. So now that gives us, I've got that down to just barely is a little bit of glue left on it. So I actually took that off. So that gives us now we'll go and we'll set up on the other side. That'll give us the ability to come put that piece right back. We'll get the other side cut. This will fit right back in there where it was. And then we'll have this shortened up door, and we'll have no damage to the existing stain or the existing finish on it. So go right back in here. Of course, it'll be hung over 3/8 of an inch. The molding will right here. That's the width of this. go back on the plywood and you'll never know that we've cut it down. So I'll cut the camera off and set up on the other side and get that set up and ready to go, and then I'll cut that side. Okay, here we got set up on the other side. I've already got the test pattern to make sure that I got it lined up and got my square set. So we're going to go ahead and cut this one just like we did this one. It's a little bit of a slow process, but I take really small cuts each pass. That way I don't have any tear out. I don't have any chatter on the bit. It's easier on the bit. And then this is a down cut too, so we get that smooth, clean cut along the edge there on the 45, and that's as slick as it probably could be. I think it's going to wind up fitting really well when we get done with it. Wow, we got some glue turning loose here. We're going to stop right there. We got close enough. Turn this to the side. So now you can see we've got both. Turn the camera up here where you can see it. Now we've got both corners cut. Got the stiles on both sides cut. Back here on the 45, and where I marked them out and measured them beforehand, we've got a perfect fit. Now I take this thing out, and I still got to cut the back on the side here where it'll fit. So there's a little bit of cutting here, and I'm going to have to come in here with the bandsaw. I'll take it over and take it to the bandsaw and cut back 3/8 of an inch across here. That don't have to be perfect, and it don't have to be exact, because you get the rail back across it there, and it hides any errors. So I get ready to put it back together. I'll turn the camera on. I won't show this. I'm just going to cut it with the bandsaw and run into a whole lot of time, and so it's just going to be a cut. I'll 45 these. I'll do these on the bandsaw. It'll be on the back side. And then I'll sand those, and I'll probably hand sand these just a little bit, scrape the glue here just into places. And when I get ready to put it together, I'll get the camera going again and let you see that. Okay, here we are back on the camera again. I've got the after I got the pieces cut down, we'll turn the camera off there and let's see. All right, we turned the camera off. And I went ahead and cut the pieces out on the bandsaw that needed cutting. There was nothing special about that, and I've actually put it together here. Wasn't anything special about that. The miters were already cut on the top rail, and we cut the miters on the stiles on the Pantograph. So those was cut. So all I had to do was really just come in here with a little sandpaper and clean the glue off. And cut the very edge of the piece here with the bandsaw, and then cut out the plywood on the back with the saw. So anyhow, this is our door now. It started out this size, and now we went to this size. And was able to do it without damaging the finish on it and altering that in any way. So that's what the customer wanted. So we got one more to do, and then we got to make some of this molding and make 4 more doors. So they'll be made just exactly like these too. They'll not be a frame and panel door like we normally do. They'll be to match this because it's going on the same set of cabinets. But anyway, we got what the customer was after. That's to go from this size to this size without damaging the finish on it. So just a little quick video on this project. I'll do the other door, and I've got to make some molding. Got to make a couple of pieces of molding. Here's one profile. It's a piece of crown. It's not that uncommon a profile, but there's nowhere here locally to obtain this in oak, so they want it in oak. And, we got another smaller piece of crown. This one here is a painted piece, but we want to match this up, make some out of oak that can be stained to match all of that. So got a couple pieces of molding to make. I may get the camera out and get it up. I don't think I have an exact profile knife to use this in the molding machine, but we only need about 5 feet of it. So going to be using different cutters and different machines to create this profile, and what we'll wind up doing is making this piece of molding with several different knives on several different machines, probably with several different passes. But not hardly, you can't hardly justify the cost of a set of knives for the molding machine for 5 feet of molding. So probably shoot a little video on that. That'll be a long drawn out process. And, may get some video of that and let people see how that works if they've never seen it done. So just wanted to put this in here with the doors. Of course, we've been working on other doors also. We've got some raised panel doors here that's made out of maple, going on a bathroom vanity. Been working those, and some drawer fronts to the same one. So at any rate, when I get this done and get started on the molding, I'll get the camera back out, and we'll do a little shooting on making some of that molding. Thanks for watching.